Sam, you're gonna want to close your ears for this one. What were the Kings thinking getting DeMar DeRozan, dude? Like, I don't get it. Like, I was on the move at the time, but the more I think about it, and the closer we got to the season, I think I dropped the Kings down my standings. By the time we got to the standings episode, I just I don't really know how this fits at all. And I felt this in my gut at the time, but I was like, well, they're just trading out Harrison Barnes for DeMar DeRozan. And like Harrison Barnes is washed. And they only
well, hold on. How about you respect the Western Conference Player of the Week before you go?
Well, I had that on my list too.
Yeah. I'm not going to let you disrespect the best player in the Western Conference last week.
This season is really just designed to torture Kings, Sixers, and Pelicans fans.
For sure.
Like the Pelicans, for obvious reasons, all the injuries. The Sixers, same thing, but also with the Embiid and Paul George stuff and all that. The Kings, once again, apparently I like the signing. I don't remember, so I might be doing a little bit of revisionist history here. I felt like I was lukewarm on it, but also the more I thought about it, the less I liked it. Now
I think we traded. I think I hated it at the time, and I came around.
You came on the vibes.
Yeah.
I took their over, and then by the time we got 2 weeks later, we did the standings episode.
Yeah.
And I dropped them into like the play-in, and because I was like, the more I think about this, the more I'm like, how the fuck is Sabonis, Fox, DeMar? You just can't have enough shooting, and that's been compounded by the shooting and the defense. But then it's also been compounded by the fact that Monk's missed time. Sabonis and DeMar, Sabonis, who never misses time, has been out. Sabonis and DeMar have been out, and Fox looked incredible in those games that DeMar missed. And Fox is really the one that has taken the most of a backseat when DeMar plays. Because right now, Fox just had a stretch where he scored, all right, in a week, he scored this many points. All right, ready? Okay. 60 points, 49 points, 28 points, 29, 31. The first DeMar DeRozan game back, he scored 14 points. And that has been a trend all season, that when DeMar plays, Fox has to take a back seat. And Fox is just better than DeMar now.
Do you want to guess where the Kings are in net rating with cleaning the glass?
The Kings?
The Kings in net rating, cleaning the glass. Where in the league?
12.
That's exactly where they are. 12.
Boom. But here, hold on. But that still doesn't... DeMar and Sabonis have missed time.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is they are going to be a team that is better when their best players are out. Because it forces them to play other players that Keon Ellis has to play more. Once again, this was what I started to grow to dislike about this move, was the fact that these guys just don't fit together. You can't have all four guys that want to cook in the mid-range. Now, look, Monk and Fox will occasionally get on three-point pull-up heaters, but the pieces don't fit. Keegan has taken a step back shooting-wise. Herder's been a fucking disaster.
Yeah, that's the bad one, yeah.
Yeah. They don't even have anything to rely on there. So, it's a combination of a lot of things, but also it's one of the things is that putting DeMar on your team makes it so that you have to play a different style. And, they already had to play a different style because of Sabonis. So now I just think that they've just got to a point where, in this Western Conference, they've had the third easiest schedule in the NBA so far this year, and they're below 500.
Yeah. Well, I think we're still early enough where I don't necessarily believe the easiest schedule metrics, because if you go through and you look at the standings, by the
no, I think that it readjusts though, because the Sixers are bad, and they were on a few team schedules, and they were like, this is bad. No, once again, you're right. That over the course of the season, it recorrects itself a little bit.
I'm just saying, the Lakers are 4th in the West right now. The Clippers are 6th, and the Suns are 7th. I don't think any of those teams are going to be 6th or higher by the time the end of the season comes around. And those are, all teams that are kind of around. Now you could say, Sam, all of those teams you just listed are in the Pacific Division, which the Kings play the most of anyone, and they definitely have played some of those teams twice. And I could say to you, sure, but I'm going to come down where I came down. I do think that the Kings have the rare thing where they are playing such a different style of basketball compared to everyone else in the NBA. I do think that it is going to be a little bit more viable come playoff time. Now, will they make the playoffs? Who's to say? But, like
Kings and Rockets, playoff risers, as we know.
I'm just saying, I think the Kings have more of a shot than like the Suns in the playoffs.
Well, the good thing if you're a Kings fan is that these guys all play well in close games, and every game you play this year is going to be close because they're not good.
Perfect. You've got the clutch player of the year in
incredible.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we'll just DMS that. This has nothing to do with this concept, but it's so good.
Oh, okay.
You know how we've been talking about how great Tyler Hero's been this year?
Yes.
Tyler Hero's been really good. Like, he's been shooting the shit out of the ball. The Miami Heat in the 200 minutes that Tyler Hero sits have a plus 11.5 net rating. In the 480 minutes he's played, they have a negative 2.5 net rating.
Let's go.
Oh,
he's carrying scam fraud of bio though, so that's why.
People forget. Forget. I mean, it's really just built on the back of their elite defense. Like that's kind of always been the case, is that they have an elite defense when Hero sits and they don't when he plays. Like, that's just the reality of him. But that's incredible. I've never seen anything like that before. But yeah, long story short, they have a plus 6.9 with all three of those guys playing together, which sounds good. But if you want to make the playoffs in the West, you gotta be really synergistic with your best players. And
they're not synergistic. I'll definitely say that.
Yeah. And maybe this can work out. Maybe this can change throughout the course of a season. The early results have been underwhelming, at least. And once again, their biggest problem, which Kings fans have talked about ad nauseum on Twitter over the last few weeks, other than Keegan Murray, they don't have any two-way playable wings. So the Jay Crowder signing is an attempt to stopgap that until they can trade for maybe Dorian Finney-Smith or someone. But they very obviously need another guy that can make those lack of shooting and lack of defense lineups work.
Can you imagine if they got Cam Johnson?
I mean, that would just be leaning more into the offense, but he's so good on offense now that maybe it would work.
Yeah, that's what. Well, and I think he's like capable enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a good point too. Devin Carter is like coming. You know what I'm saying? At some point,
and to be fair to, like, even though I love Carter in the draft, to be fair to, even if the shooting is a little bit for his defensive guards tend to translate much quicker than offensive guards. Like, in general, like Cason Wallace was really good on defense right away. Like, there are guys that come in and are very good guard defenders day one in the NBA.
Well, I think that's my big thing against the Kings. It's not even necessarily like that they're like not synergistic, because I think, Sabonis, DeMar, and Fox, they're not conventional, but they're all like pretty good at their things. The problem is that like they have two other playable rotation players in their entire
Keegan Ellis and Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
And even Keegan's having a bad shooting year. So
they still have Monk though, right? We forgot about Monk.
Oh, Monk too, off the bench, even though it's a little bit whatever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if I were the Kings, I might rather trade for Dorian Finney-Smith, just because for what they need. Like they just want a Jay Crowder who's playable.
How old is Dorian Finney-Smith? Is he like 31
30.
or am I making that up? Yeah. Okay.
He's like 30, 31. He's having the best season of his career though.
I'm skeptical. I think he's just been the guy he's always been, and like the context is like, I think Jordy Fernandez is kind of him, and I think like
I'm skeptical too, but also keep in mind, this is a guy that is going to be fine on a team where he has a lack of offensive responsibility, and he can just be put on the other team's best player. You could save Keegan Murray in some matchups so that he's not like people have said like he doesn't have the legs to shoot like he used to because he's having to clean up everything on defense for them.
Yeah. I
think I would try to get Dorian Finney-Smith if I were them. I would trade Kevin Huerter in a first-round pick for Dorian Finney-Smith. And I would say, let's just put a defensive wing who can stand in a corner and get offensive rebounds sometimes, and let's cook. Because Right now, they need just a fifth guy to make their lineup work, and I feel like he's kind of a perfect fit, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And once again, the less offensive responsibility for him, the better. He's going to have no offensive responsibility. He'll be every lineup he's in. He'll be the fourth or fifth best offensive player, which is what you want for Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah.
So, all right. So